Good evening. I'd like to call the subcommittee meeting of the Arts and Culture Subcommittee to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Chairman Milanazzo.
Here.
Counsel Leahy.
Here.
Counsel Mercia.
Here.
3 present.
Thank you. The purpose of this evening's meeting is a result of a motion by Councilor Dan Rourke, who is joining us this evening as well. Thank you, Councilor Rourke. To have the city working through a variety of agencies being led by Susan Halter, who's here. Susan is the director of COOL, Cultural Office of Lowell, and they've been working on an application to the Bloomberg Philanthropies Art Challenge Grant, which I understand is due the 15th of this month. So we thought it would be good to get a presentation from those working on the grant application, and then have the subcommittee make a recommendation to the full council at the meeting at 6:30. Again, I don't know if Councilor Rourke wanted to address the subcommittee since it was your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Susan and her entire team for getting this off the ground. When the motion was originally filed, it kind of put a time pressure on her, but she was very quick to assemble a very talented team, and the presentation she's going to show you was extensive and terrific, so looking forward to seeing it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rourke. Any of my colleagues at this point?
No, but I'm just very surprised that you're such a cultural guy, Councilor Rourke, but I'm happy to see that.
Thank you. At this point, then, I'll turn it over to Susan Halter to walk us through the grant application presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I actually want to thank, I know I gave you a hard time this weekend, Councilor Rourke, but I want to thank you and the mayor for pushing us on this. We did pull together a great team of people, and I'm actually going to start by thanking them because we are really excited about this idea, and in fact, a lot of people are excited. We've already decided if we don't get good news from Bloomberg, we're going to sort of shop this around to some other places, because we think it would be a great project for Lowell. But I want to thank the people who came together to sort of sit around and brainstorm about this project. Jim Coates from the UMass Lowell Fine Arts Department. Jim is an amazing sculptor who's been responsible for a lot of great work in Lowell. Diana Colantino from the New Vestures Makerspace. Barbara Gakel, who is here with us tonight. Jim Higgins from Flying Orb Productions, Paul Marion from the Center for Arts and Ideas at UMass Lowell, and John Noto from Lowell Makes, and Eric Sachs from LTC. Some of the work that you'll see, although I'm not sure in this slideshow, but hopefully if we get this funding and we visualize the project, is work made by these folks. So I don't know, I'm going to go back and start here from the beginning. Okay, so the idea behind the Public Art Challenge, it's a really interesting grant in that it supports only temporary art, and somebody asked me what that means, and it can be anything from lighting displays to performance pieces to temporary sculpture in the downtown. The idea is that it's going to support innovative temporary public art projects that enhance the vibrancy of cities. You can ask for up to $1 million. It is open to any city of over 30,000 people. So that includes New York, it includes LA, it includes a lot of big people. And I think I mentioned to you all in the notes, they had another mayoral challenge that was open to the entire world, and we're grateful that this has been reduced to just the United States, because the last one was won by Barcelona and Stockholm, Sweden. So the project that we propose, if you all feel good about this, is something called Art Lab Lowell. It's utilizing the entire city as a framework for what we're calling creative research and development. And it's tough to see this, but I've given each of you this handout, and it pinpoints all the places where we are suggesting projects during the initial application. And you should know this is just basically a letter of inquiry, so it's a shortened version. If we are invited to the second round, we'll be applying in January. So projects would include things like animating our 5.6 miles of historic canals with lighting, performances, and temporary artworks. This is something we've been looking into for a couple years, and working with the great folks from Audio East. I don't know if you were here for this, actually I do know that you were here for the City of Lights Parade. I don't know if you got a chance to see the great dance by the kids from the Boys and Girls Club, but they did it under a section of the street that we highlighted with UV lighting, and I'm told it was a pretty big hit, so they've suggested a lot of other ideas to us. Engaging local artists as well as visiting artists from other communities to create work in dialogue with Lowell's permanent art collection. As you know, we have a fairly substantial permanent art collection. I think what happens over time is that some of this artwork becomes background work. People don't really see it anymore. So we want to bring it back into the public's notice by creating dance performances or lighting displays or interactive performances around these pieces. utilizing Lowell's citywide network of smokestacks for video productions. I've seen some incredibly powerful video projections on smokestacks. The first and third image up here were on the Charlestown Monument, and it was an incredibly moving production about the code of silence in Charlestown with people who had lost their children to violence, talking about the experience of living among neighbors who they knew had potentially even killed their kids. So it can be really powerful. Images, moving images, that size can be really powerful, and we've got some exciting ideas around that. Creating an interactive, citywide, publicly generated artwork, and we don't know what that will be. We're using an example from the Revolving Museum where they created a community mural and everybody could participate, but the idea is that there will be a place that people can come to. It'll be overseen by Lowell Makes, our makerspace and New Vestures, where anybody in the city can participate in art making in that day, and what they do would become part of a larger project. And this is a piece that came out of a couple of people from Lowell, one of them, Eric Sachs from LTC, installing an interactive video screen on LTC Plaza, on a JFK Plaza. We looked at this for Winterfest last year and actually couldn't afford it, so we revisited it around this idea. Putting a huge screen that people could come up to, and as you move in front of the screen, you'll see yourself moving in front of the screen. So we've talked about choreographing a huge dance performance in front of that anybody can participate in. So it would be an amazing project in terms of who it supports. It would support dancers, writers, tech experts, lighting designers, makers, and public artists as they build a fabric of art across the downtown over a 1-week period during Winterfest 2016, which is the time frame we'd be looking at for this grant. Our goals would be to build awareness for Lowell's incredibly rich cultural resources, to engage the entire city in art making. We want people not just looking, but we want people doing as well. And this is our lofty goal, to redefine urban public art in the region and to serve as a model for other gateway cities. We think this could be a really exciting way to engage the community. We think it would generate a lot of positive publicity for the community, and we'd love to shop it around to other people as well. So again, there's my amazing team of people who helped me.
Great. Thank you, Susan, very much. At this point, let me just recognize our Mayor Elliott, who is here as well. Thank you, Mayor Elliott, and City Manager Murphy is here as well. At this point, I'll certainly open it up to the members of the subcommittee for questions, comments.
Well,
Councilor
let me
Marcia.
make a comment. I think that we have a valuable asset here in the city, namely the canals. Not every city and town has a canal system the way that we do, and I think it's underutilized. I know it costs money, but you have great ideas with putting lights into the canals to some degree to generate an interest, and I think that would be a great idea that I support. I wonder if there's anybody here behind us that's a part of the group. Are those you are?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you for being
Thank you
here.
for the hard work that you put into this production, and I wish you the best of luck.
This is actually Eric Sack, who has the idea for the interactive video screen on
LTC.
JFK Plaza.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
this is Barbara Gakel, who's a local artist who helped us with the brainstorming.
Sure.
And I agree with you. I think everybody agrees with you about our canals. We're trying to figure out ways. One of the initial ideas was to create a public art walkway, a temporary public art walkway all along the Merrimack River. So if we get invited to beef up this proposal, there'll be more stuff in it. We ended up, I should tell you in the end, our initial go-around was for, I think, around $80,000, and we decided that was just too small for this grant. So we got it up to close to $200,000, and we could certainly increase that if we do get invited to reapply.
So the amount would be around 200,000.
It is now. It's around 173,000 is what we submitted. They will not fund an entire project.
Okay.
So the two biggies in Lowell are the Lowell Folk Festival and the Winterfest in terms of funds that are already generated. So that's what we were looking at in terms of, okay, what can we catapult off of? Understandably, the Folk Festival really wants to focus on the music and keep the focus on that, and pumping $500,000 of public art into it would be a detractor, I think, to that event. But, and maybe not, there's still room for discussion. We've still got time on that one. I mean, it would be a great, because we've got so many visiting people from outside the city.
Right.
And how many applicants are they choosing? Just one?
5 across the country.
Okay, that's
It's very
fine.
limited, yeah. I mean, I don't know how many they're selecting for the second round.
Mm.
You know, we felt very positively about our application because even though it's a small amount of money and we're a relatively small city compared to other people who might apply, we do think it would have a really big impact both in Lowell and regionally.
That's
So-
wonderful.
We're hoping they'll see that as well.
Thank you very much. Good
Sure.
luck to you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
good, thanks.
Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. I like the presentation. I especially like the part about utilizing the smokestacks, and I like the screen over at JFK. So, I mean, there's so much you can do in Lowell, and obviously it depends on if funding's available. There's certainly not a shortage of talent and people to participate. But if we could get the funding, I mean, you could have your own weekend of anything you want, you know, an arts weekend where you can have displays on the canals and down the streets. And if you could do the smokestacks, I mean, that would be another draw for, say, like the month of August or whatever, on a summer night where you go around and see the productions on the smokestacks, things like that, so.
Oh, yeah, and even as we get bids for this, if there are things that we can realize during the course of the year, we're already looking at some of these ideas for Winterfest. We've got a great lighting proposal for all of, for those of you who were there last year, you remember City Hall, how amazing that was. They submitted a proposal to light not only City Hall, but the whole JFK building, and then doing a whole light display in Lucy Larcom Park. So I think we're going to go ahead with that for this winter. So we're going to start implementing some of these ideas right away.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Councilor Belanger has joined us as well. Thank you for being here. At this point, if there are no other comments or questions, the chair would entertain a motion to endorse the application for the temporary public art project as presented.
Second.
Motion, second. Motion by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Leahy. Roll call, please.
Chairman Milonazo,
Yes.
Council Leahy,
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
3 yeas.
3 yeas. Thank you. With that, we'll recommend to the full council this evening that that the council supports the application going forward. And want to thank you for the quick turnaround, if you
Yeah.
will, putting this together. Yes, Barbara, would you like to? Could you go to the podium, please? Podium, please. Thank you.
Was a whirlwind, and she's been doing her homework, and she's done a lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Barbara.
Well, hopefully we'll all be dancing on City Hall Plaza
That's
in
right.
2016. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. And thank you to Council Rook. Council Rook?
Only if I can have the first dance at Council Mercia.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nothing else to come before the subcommittee? Motion to adjourn
Thank you.
by
Yes,
Council,
yep,
by
Second.
Council Leahy, Council,
Second.
second by Council Mercia. All those in favor, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
thank you.